Welcome to Saturday. I woke up our 15-year-old Maisie. She's a sophomore in high school right now. She's going to be our apprentice today. She's usually filming, but she wanted to make some robots with us. So this is DIY wooden robots. And first and foremost, we got this idea thanks to our partners at Lowe's, who have a full tutorial online at lowes.com of DIY wooden robots. So we're kind of bringing it to life. We'll post that link on our Facebook page. And we'll bring it to life right now. So Maisie, a couple of PSAs, public service announcements out there. First and foremost, this is creativity and captivity. So we want you to have fun. We hope you're having fun with our Facebook Live so far and watching, and please share with your friends because we know this is a tough time right now. And so being creative and having some fun and building things gets our minds off of some of the tougher stuff that we're dealing with right now. So we want to make you smile, and we want you to be creative and to use your brains and then use your hands. So let's go make some stuff, right? So first and foremost, we always promote women-owned companies, and I wear women-owned brands. So please don't take this as an advertisement. This is literally, I have passion for these companies. Maisie is stealing my shirts lately. So this is a work shirt from Dovetail Workwear. I am wearing the bib, so you see me in the Freshly overalls a lot. Here's the thing about it that women will love is there's pockets, like mega pockets, 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 inside pockets, outside pockets. So I love to say go get a great pair of bibs, whatever brands that you like, but anything with tons of pockets is really helpful if you start doing workshop work or really getting into any kind of DIY stuff. So we've got our simple aprons on. You usually see me in my regular tool belt, but right now it's that'd be a little overkill for today's work. So this is just a simple apron that's a great starter for kids. If you are starting out with kids, they do feel like they're a builder when they put this on. So we use this for all of our camps. These are like $1.50 at Lowe's. So go get yourself that. And then these are also our name tags when we come to camp or we do after school. So I'm Debbie, that's Maisie. So that's another fun thing for kids to do. Give them Sharpies, which we have on our table. I've got our whole line up here to show you what we're using today. Give them Sharpies, give them paint, and that's an activity in and of itself. It's just making and personalizing your own bib and apron and get it to work with your tool belt. So there's about 100 projects we could go over just in creativity and having fun. The other thing I wanted to show you, if you followed us on our DIY rope shelves, this was with scrap wood the other day, and if you haven't watched it, you can always go to our Facebook page. We have those archived. Wanted to show you some of the creativity of the kids that were over here. So finished project, this was our DIY shelf that I had to hang. So this is a finished one with that ombre, as well as one of the kids. Thought that was a super cool paint scheme we've got going on. And you can see some of the other ones too. And these projects for us are fundraisers because we don't have any programming right now that are in the schools or actually at a location due to social distancing and staying in place in our homes. So we'll have those available. These are great Mother's Day gifts, we hope, or just great gifts in general because they're built by girls. And we can teach you how to do it, or we can also provide them for you as a fundraiser for She Built the City. So once we can do our programming again, we will. We also have kid kits. So this is brand new. What we're doing is, this is a Craftsman Versatub or Duratub. These things are indestructible. I love them. We use all of this for our mobile toolkits and our mobile vans when we're going to schools. You can use this for just about anything, but we're using it right now for a kid kit. So we've come up with this thanks to kind of the state of affairs right now in the world of how do we bring projects to kids so that they can keep their brains moving, and then also helping out some of our friends in other nonprofits who have kids on site and or in neighborhoods that need us, who have both parents working and are in dire need of either projects and or help with emergency child care. So that's going to be available on our website as well as to donate a kid kit if you'd like to. This is 1 for 1. If you purchase a kid kit, we can deliver it anywhere in the Charlotte area and not have contact. We will leave it either at a mailbox or a front porch, and that you can do 5 projects in a week for 4 kids. So pretty economical what we're trying to do, and then also get it to organizations that need it as well. So we're here to serve the community first. So that's our biggest service item today is to get it to the people that need it. So anyway, getting back to our work now, DIY wooden robots. Okay, this is a lot of fun. So in terms of what you need, I've just put a whole bunch of stuff together. So if you can pan in on, this is just a shim box, basically. It's all extra wood that are from other projects. So your neighbors might have this, you might have this in your garage. You can also use anything from your backyard. So go kind of hunt around. I wouldn't use rocks because you can't really hammer into rocks, but if you're using a glue gun, you could always use rocks. If you know me, you know that I'm always telling you that there's things available to you that are just in nature. So we love these because, again, it's adaptive reuse of other projects we've been working on or what people have donated to us. But you can also find some of this in nature. So get creative. Again, whole point is creativity. So lots of different sizes. I went ahead and spray painted. You know I love spray paint if you are following us at all. Maisie knows I love spray paint. She loves spray paint. P.S. Kids love spray paint. So if you have an open air backyard, you have some cans of spray paint in your garage, let them spray paint. They absolutely adore it. We do advocate masks, but we also know that those are in grave need for our hospitals. So I don't want to say go try to go buy masks. You can use a buff or you can use an old t-shirt that you just wrap around your head, and that's going to give you ventilation so that you're not pulling in those fumes. So go out, put a drop cloth down or put a piece of plastic or some old t-shirts that you cut up and get to spray painting. So kids love it, love it, love it because it's not something they normally get to do. Or you can use craft paint. So I've got here just some craft brushes, again, or if you have smaller kids. So for the younger kids, this really runs the age. She's doing it at 15. We can hammer, drill, and nail these. Or if you have a younger tyke, 4, 5, 6 years old, who you don't want to get into the hammering, you really don't want to get into the drilling yet, you're sticking with the glue gun or just your regular Elmer's glue. This does not have to be wood glue. You can use your Elmer's glue from your school kits. So those school packs that have come home, put it to use. So you can always use this on scrap wood. The only thing with that is you're gonna have to have a little bit more of drying time, so the kids can't really work on the other pieces if you've got parts that are trying to glue together. So you want to do that in stages. If you are using glue with the younger kids, or just if you like glue, do that first and then come back to add in your other components. So we just got a whole bunch of things that I'll show you really quickly that are rated from junk drawers. Some of it was new, some of it just happened to be in my garage. Some of it was from Lowe's because we do camps and things of that nature. I mean, pop tops, these are great. Again, like recycle things. Those are awesome to use. I've got, this is like a water bottle cap of a plastic water bottle. I don't even know. I have no idea what this is, but I'll use it as a hat. Again, this was like a door stopper. We had just a random set of junk doors. I've got hex bolts here that were in our kit. If you saw our DIY peg lamp, these are actually from clothespins. So save everything when you're doing these projects because you just never know what's gonna come up later. That's why I love this. This is Craftsman out of Lowe's. You can find all different sizes of boxes for your tools and crafts and supplies, and also bolts, nuts, screws, what they're normally used for in construction. We can also adapt this for kids, and they have hangers on the back that you can put to your wall. And if you can see, we're in the midst of getting our workshop up and running this weekend. So it's kind of a work in progress, but we'll give you a little tour when we're done, just because you can do this at home. This is easy to make a workshop, not really super hard in terms of financial investment for you. So get working on building that workshop in a corner of your garage. We're making it work again because we're all home social distancing. So we had some extra felt, so I cut out. So again, this is easy for the smaller kids, especially if you're doing the craft glue. They could be gluing on top. Why I have an extra electrical socket in my junk drawer, no clue, but this is something fun to use. And again, if you've got the little kids, you just want to make sure there's nothing kind of spiky or anything they can put in their mouths, and or just get into their fingers. We spray painted, so tons of different bolts and screws that we've spray painted different colors, or again, craft paint. You don't have to pull out the spray paint. We just know I like spray paint. Spray painted some of the pop tops. So again, like the creativity level is endless here as to what you can use. These are just a couple that were super simple ones. We had a lot of fun with this last night. You can keep them natural. I used some Sharpies on there and found we had pipe stems, pipe cleaners, who knows? I think this was from when it was in a corner of box from when my kids were little. They are now 8th grade and 10th grade. So just super fun. This is a rubber band that I cut and made it into a smiley face. Again, you got bolts. hex bolts. This is just a furniture nail. Again, some of this is glued. I actually will show you how to do this. Again, for the older kids or parents, if you are helping the kids that are younger, this is easy to hammer in first and then you can screw it in. So you kind of have to divorce yourself of the normal rules of construction, whether we're using a power drill versus a hammer. It's kind of the lazy way of construction, but at the same time, we're just playing and we're getting kids used to tools. In this one. And you might see my cat walking in here. So just again, this is kind of like the Zoom calls where the dogs come on and they become the star of the show. She likes to, Cat Jade might be our shop cat today. So again, the Sharpies, fabric paint that we had laying around. We've got our paintbrushes that are just craft paintbrushes that you can reuse, and then all different kinds of wood. We went ahead and pre-painted so that we wouldn't do that in front of you today. And then here you go. Welcome to your junk drawer, right? I don't even know what all this is. You can even use erasers. So see how we made an eraser on this guy. Here's a can opener that was broken. That was welcome to my junk drawer. So you can have movable parts and pieces here, or you can make it all static. So we've got Robbie and Roberta, if we want to say Robbie and Roberta Robot. I don't know. We haven't named this guy back here. What do you want to name him, these? You think about that. She's a little gun shy today on the video. So Robbie is more static, you know, he's not moving around, he's a little more solid, whereas Roberta here, she has some movable parts and pieces. So I think you get the picture. Kids, if you're on, again, ask your parents first before you go raiding some drawers and just dumping things out of them. Tell what you're doing, and then get mom and dad or caregiver involved. Maisie has gone ahead and she's kind of prepped up some things herself. She's going to stick on the glue gun side. Again, we're not going to craft glue today, just for the sheer fact that you would sit here and help us watch paint dry and glue dry, which is probably not so fun for Facebook. So what we're going to do is she'll be doing glue gun work on hers. She's already picked out some of the things, some of the fun stuff to make hers. You wanted to have one block, right?
Yeah.
So this is just one block for her robot, and she needs to think of a name too. I'm putting her on the spot. And then I'm going to use a couple of different blocks for mine. But you can see, it's just, we pre-painted these, just all kinds of different, you could do sticks, but just super random pieces and shapes. I love the shapes just because that makes it even more creative. We do have sandpaper, so I just got the 3M sandpaper here. This is the non-slip grip, which is really good for kids. You could do a block too, because that's easier to navigate for kids. You know, for me, I'm working with coarse, or excuse me, medium here, so you don't need something coarse. This is just really scrap wood, or even with sticks and rocks, or well, not rocks, but with sticks, you definitely don't need to go crazy. You just don't want something that's going to splinter. We don't have gloves on today, but again, these are kind of our general shop rules, is you want kids to have gloves of some sort. Make sure it fits them. There's definitely different sizes for kids as well. We don't need our glasses today because we are not doing anything that's sawing or drilling that's gonna pop up. So that's my just safety 101. So you ready for yours? Mm-hmm. All right, so I'm gonna come over here just because this table, everything would bounce around if I started hammering on it. We have a new, this is our just mobile workshop table, so this is pretty cool. These are the Works Pegasus sawhorses that you can just go right in, put it in your car, and take somewhere else. So that's kind of an advertisement for that. But I'm using it, it's super level so far. I just bought this and I'm actually really happy with it from what I have so far. So anyway, here's what I have, and I'm gonna use, a little bit about hammering. So if you get into the hammer, so this is what I've got today in terms of tools. So if you've got the older kids who can do this themselves and start exploring how to use them, or if you are helping support a younger child, you can use, I've got both flathead and Phillips screwdrivers here, depending on what I'm using in terms of putting screws and bolts in here, as well as a hammer. I've got a 20-ounce hammer right here. You know, for kids, this is a mid-grade hammer. You can use 16 ounces very easily. There's smaller hammers for kids. Please don't go and get a framing hammer, which is very heavy, or drywall. You really want a basic hammer for kids to get started with, because remember, the whole point of this is to get a win. You want your kids to be confident with tools and say, I want to do something else. Give me another one. And so The other thing with this is a lot of people like to think, school rules with these types of things. And just because the grip is down here doesn't mean this is exactly where we want you to hold it. So in terms of hammering, what we typically do and how I typically teach it with kids is, this is a pretty long, this is a drywall nail, or excuse me, long finish nail. Not necessarily what I would be using on these small pieces of wood, but just to show you, you get more leverage based on the higher you go on your hammer. So if you're down here, it's almost like a tomahawk. So for kids, this could easily fly across the room if they really don't have that grip on it, which is pretty normal for kids. And also, you're losing your power. So your hammering is not as efficient. So if you go work on any job site, or if you volunteer with an organization like Rebuilding Together or Habitat for Humanity and volunteer your time, they'll teach you these skills as well. The higher up on your hammer, the better. I mean, you don't want to be right here, but you do want to use it where you're high enough that you have leverage. And for the kids, I like to go a little higher just because, again, we want to get them confident with these tools. We want them to be a nice right angle most of the time. Use your other, so I'm left-handed, so I'm using my left hand if that's confusing any of the righties out there. I'm a southpaw. You're using your two index and thumb to use your first hammer and nail, and once it's in there, then you can do your additional. So you don't want to get those pinch and hit yourself. So that's pretty basic stuff when you come to hammer and nail. So I like to go over that with kids, and moms and dads and parents and caregivers of all types and shapes and sizes. When you're going over that, even if you're not confident in a workshop or in construction, that's just all you need to know for the time being. And then also, if you've got siblings around, don't be doing anything with your siblings. Because I know if she had her younger sibling, it could get a little rowdy in here. The other thing is, if you've got these pieces that are just extra scrap wood, sometimes they do have from the manufacturers, wherever you got it, like at Lowe's, these are going to come out as identifiers that they scan through. So you just want to make sure you take those off. And you can also pop out if there is a staple in there from that same thing. So we're pretty prepped up. If you want to start doing your glue gunning of your work, I'm going to do some hammering here. I've already hammered in one here. So this is going to be my person. I'm going to say her rather than guy, so that we say this is a she, pronoun she. I'm going to use that as my block, like the bottom of my body. This will be the middle, and let's see, I think I'm going to choose this pre-painted head. And she already has a movable arm. So you see there, I just used a finish nail there. So I could make two choices here. I could either shim it in with that same, if I still have my nail, put my nail here. For the older kids, if you really want to have fun with it, you can definitely put your nail into the side. That's a little more advanced, and again, I don't want little kids to start with that because they could jam it in there, you could have to pull it out, they lose their confidence, and then they don't want to do it again. So what you can do as well is just use the glue gun for something like this. If you are going to be hammering into any of your pieces, you want to do that first. So you don't want to start building and then be hammering in, because if you're using a combination of the glue gun and, go ahead, Mace. If you're using a combination of the glue gun and hammering, the glue gun won't be supported enough. So the hammering has more power to it, and you're gonna, 9 times out of 10, be moving that block. So let's see what we've got. I'm gonna use some of these fun things that I can start making my face with. And I have not pre-thought this out, so I'm literally just figuring this out on the fly. In terms of my hammering, I think we're gonna go ahead. Oh, this is what I want to show you for sure, is this is kind of fun with screws. Again, so I have a Phillips. Make sure your Phillips is gonna fit into whatever screw, because these come in different sizes. You can start, so I wanted to show you if you start with a hammer and you can screw it in, because this is great to get kids involved in both. If you have them, if you don't, just modify and use other things. But so for let's put it on I'll put my eyes here. So I can start, again, this is, any construction professional out there is like, this is horrible. These are wooden DIY robots, y'all, so take a breath. This is fun. So not normally used like this, but you can start And then get the kids actually using these screwdrivers. So you can screw the rest in. And I picked a really big one, so I don't need to be doing this in front of you for 20 minutes. So I should have used a smaller screw here, but you get the picture. Here, I'll try to find another one that's smaller. So this can be a fun, here we go. This is a good one. You hammer it in first. Again, sorry, I'm gonna make stuff bounce on this table. And then you can screw it in farther. So I'm just gonna screw it in a bit. Again, you get the idea. Make sure your piece of wood isn't so small that you're gonna split the wood, because I can already feel it and hear it breaking. So I'm just gonna do that and just stick with that since I've got a little baby piece of wood. If you can't see, this is maybe an inch wide. So there's one eye. I'm gonna do something else. Let's see. Since I'm sticking with the hammer, you can build upon things. What do we got here? All right, so I've got a furniture nail and a bolt, a hex bolt. So I think that's gonna stay, so let's play with that. So I don't even need to glue that down in any way. And I'm just gonna hammer it in. See if I can get some leverage there first. And then just hammer the rest in. Easy. So there you go. And that's movable. So again, moving parts and pieces is pretty fun too, especially for the smaller kids. This is about fun and exploration, right? So your robots, I can't wait to see them because they're gonna look all kinds of different. And then we just have such a random assortment of stuff. What do I want to do here? I think I'm gonna switch to the glue gun too. I love this piece too. I wanna use that piece for something. Here, we'll hammer in his arms, or her, excuse me, it's her. We'll hammer in her arms and then move over to where Maisie is. So I've got some long bolts here. Ooh, here we go. Let's use one of these. I'll show you how to use that. Again, huge drywall screws, and we'll see how this works. Since I want to do my hammering first, I'm gonna do my arms. I'm gonna do different ones, and I'm doing it at a weird angle just because I want it to be like, wee, V-pose for mine. So there's one arm. I'll use something different for my other arm. And if I had been really creative, I could have put something there that was movable. I seem to be in love with making things move. I'm not really sure why, but I do. So I like the movable parts and pieces. So there you go. I could have put a washer under here. Let's do that for the other side. And I'm just, for sake of demonstration purposes, I'm going to, oh, this is good too. I want you to remember this part is, so if you've hammered this side and then you're like, wait, I can't, that's a little wonky. So what you're gonna do, you're gonna take that to the other side on a corner. So you want a corner angle for this, that you can be hammering in a safe spot. And if you need to use clamps, you can always use clamps. Don't have to. And again, I'm doing the hammer and nailing and using my screwdrivers. This is usually for older kids, like I said, so you don't want your 5-year-olds necessarily doing this with you. You want to do what Maisie's doing, which is the glue gun. But I wanted to show you some of this piece. So here you go. I've got my two. I can throw my washer on there. Got some moving parts and pieces. I could throw something else for movement on there. Yeah, why not? She's got some jewelry on just because she's feeling some flair today. She could have that. She's got a mitten. I don't know. Make it up. This is the whole point, right? And then, I don't know, maybe that's a tie or something. Maybe that's part of an outfit. So creativity doesn't have to make sense. And there you have it. So I'm going to keep that as my robot for now. We can also do something fun with a hat. So again, I'll stick with the hammer and since I had a wonky piece there, and I went ahead and painted this yesterday, but ideally, if you can see it, I've got kind of a funky piece of wood there. I should have sanded that down, because now, as I'm trying to have it with leverage, it's a little tougher to work with, so I'm gonna flip it to that to be the real top of the head. I'm gonna really work with this one. This might split the wood, so. That's gonna be and you just screw it right in for the rest. So again, like, you're getting kids playing with these materials, and it's just wonky. Again, I don't want to split it because I could already feel it splitting, and you just play it by ear, what you've got with your materials. So it's kind of an interesting head with a hat, right? And if I wanted to, I think this is a little bit heavy. Before I start, I'm gonna do the gluing to supplement. These would be some cool feet that I was thinking about. So I don't know if we need feet. So we can glue all kinds of fun stuff onto this. Again, I wanted to show you just a few different ways to actually use your hammer. And again, this is really fun basics. Most of the time these as well are magnetic, just so you know. Just to get kids confident with a Phillips screwdriver. Or again, we've got a flathead here too. I don't have anything that I would use a flathead with today. But this is really good key concept, so we're not having to do major power drilling. So again, I love to get this with the younger kids with parental supervision, or if older kids have never had any kind of power drill experience, this is a good starter. It's just them creating, exploring. There's nothing that you can do wrong, so they can't feel like, wow, I didn't do that the way it was supposed to be. There's no finished product that looks like anything but what they create. So that's what I love about the DIY wooden robots, is literally it's unique, everything you do, and nothing is perfect, and it's not supposed to be. So there's no right or wrong here. So that's what the beauty of it for kids, is they can really just play, explore, and get the confidence of doing something. Oh, nice, Maze. Any arms? And if you see with the glue gun too, this is great. This is like normal when we talk about glue guns. You gotta kind of remove the hair. We've got one of the Arrow glue guns, that this is just craft store style glue gun. This one happens to be from Lowe's, so that they can be used also on construction projects. I've got it on the low setting. So anytime we're using this for these scrap woods, and 9 times out of 10 on the projects we do, this is not something that we're reinforcing to hold forever. If it was a shelf or something of that nature, we would probably be screwing and or nailing, not gluing, because it's gonna be holding and bearing weight. But for projects like these, glue guns, and temperature-wise, you don't want to have it on high, and you certainly don't want to have one of the more industrial-sized glue guns that we use for bigger projects, because that is just it's a high temperature. So this works perfectly. So you want me to hammer that in for you? You want to glue this for me, so maybe we can show you a little bit on the gluing. Are you going to use that? Look what she did with pipe cleaner. So again, this is creativity, right? She just took 2 of white and a green pipe cleaner that we had from some projects, who knows when, 3 of them, and just braided them together. So kids are so creative. Teenagers are still creative. We also found this too. This was kind of, I'm fangirling on this. I have not used this yet, but it's glitter paint. So there's also glitter spray paint, which I'm semi in love with as well. So you, if you can for me, can you glue gun? We're gonna need a nice amount of it at the bottom of this for my robot. And since we have the movable parts that we don't really need to do anything with, she's taking those off first. And then here for you, see if she's got anything movable. No, it looks like she used all glue gun here, so we're good. And she's got a nice thick piece of wood. Again, you probably don't want to do something like this on a teeny tiny piece of wood like this. It's going to split in half. So, you know, if you're working with your kids and you've got things like this, or small stem sticks, whatever, I would stick the heavier the bolt or the bracket or whatever you're using, and you are going to use that Phillips head, flathead, or hammer, use a bigger block. Because the last thing you want is for them to get super excited about the blocks they're using, and then you split it in half. But you can make fun out of that and just say, hey, that's what happens, right? So I'm gonna do this again on you want it on a straight angle or a weird angle?
Yeah, a weird angle.
Okay. Well, weird is subjective. So there you go. There's arm 1, and she could hang something from that. Again, we could get mega creative here and use, like, ooh, here we go. She's got some S hooks over here. Why not? Play with that.
Where's the another hot glue gun stick?
Oh, we need glue sticks. Stat! So see, added an S hook. You know, again, if you've got smaller kids that you're concerned about them running off with this and it gets into a dog's mouth or something, you definitely don't want to use that, but this is just fun. I'm gonna get her a glue stick because this is what happens in real time. Not so ready for prime time, right? So, all right, here we go. Again, these are just your regular craft glue sticks. Make sure you fit it to size for whatever you have. This actually goes with Arrow, and she's playing with that. Do you want an arm on the other side, Maze? Is this your other arm?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna take that S hook off. And again, see how I flip it? Clearly I'm not gonna do that to try to nail in her second arm. So you just have to get that leverage on the other side by putting it flat, putting it to the edge of a table. I would definitely try to get a workbench of some sort. I'm not saying you need a professional sawhorse workbench. Again, this is an old kitchen table, literally from the 1930s that we have been making work until we were able to get to Lowe's. So whatever you have that's nice and level, you wanna make sure it's level. It can work in a pinch. If you do have a piece of plywood, it's always helpful, or something that's just gonna buffer any kind of misfires on a hammer, etc., so that it's not on your kitchen table and then you say, thanks a lot, Demi, because now our kitchen table has a bunch of hammer marks to it. I don't like that kind of feedback. And again, what would work well for me right now, since I'm using a pretty thick bit for her, and see, this is exactly what I was talking about. Since she had gone ahead and glued that on, what we really should have done is glue that on at the end because she had something that was moving over the edge. So stick to your block on anything that you hammer and nail first, and then come back and glue. Okay, if it falls off, like here, I'm just picking off my glue. So what? It's not the end of the world. We glue it again, right? So there are her arms. She's got an S hook on one that we'll put back. She could do legs right here. You want some legs? No, she's looking at me like I'm nuts, like most teenagers do with their parents. We'll leave the legs off. Will you glue gun my head? So forward, this direction.
Okay.
So just glue gun that. And so this is done. Yours is done, right? And we're kind of wrapping up right now too, because I know everybody, it's 10:30 Eastern time. Oh, I want the heart. Can I have the heart on there too?
Yeah.
I don't want to name mine. I don't know what I want to name mine. Susie Robot. I think Susie Robot. She's Susie Social. So she's like Susie Social Distance. Yes, she did an eye roll. That's 15-year-old behavior too.
An eye roll?
She did a eye roll. So she's really reinforcing this because this is Maisie. She loves to reinforce things. Really, you just need a couple pats underneath. Again, gauge it based on however big your piece of wood is. If we were gluing this bottom block, clearly that's going to need more. I'm just going to use a dot here to make sure this is not like the Cowardly Lion. It actually does have a heart. Super easy stuff going on. And we could add even more. I mean, this has just begun, so we could add our Sharpie to mine, give some dots there, some squiggles, squiggles, squiggles. I love squiggles too. I love flair. This is pure flair right now that we're adding. Again, this is a mobile piece. I need to go back in and hammer that in a little more, unless I want to sit there and shake hands. Have some movable pieces here and parts, and that's just ours. So that's mine. It's our finished product. So maybe, I guess we have a family here, right? That's our family that just came apart, so I'll put that. And then where's Maisie's? Maisie, where's yours?
I'm fixing it.
Oh, she's fixing it. Okay, we have one last piece to fix. So again, have fun with this, play, get creative. This is nowhere near every idea you could ever come up with. Again, I will use one with this light socket somehow, some way. I guess I could have used that as like a bow tie on the front, or I could use it right here. just random stuff laying around that actually, you know what, I'm gonna do that. Well, no, I'm not, because I have one glue gun going right now, and Maisie is being super detailed on hers, which we love that about her. She loves the details. I could put bolts on the front. See if there's, yeah? Yours done? All right, so there we go. We have our happy little family. Did you think of a name?
Morts.
Who?
Morts.
Morts?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have Morts, we have Susie Social, we have Robbie, Roberta, and their grandmother, who's nameless right now. So look at that. That took, these last night took us, after we spray painted, all of maybe 15 minutes, a lot of gluing on that one, some nailing on this one. And then this one today, we talked it through, so we talked a lot, but we could have done that probably in 10 minutes. Painting time, and again, if you're using craft glue, just give yourself some time to let the kids explore and play with that, and then let it dry for 30 minutes, come back to it, eat lunch, eat breakfast or something, come back to it, and then add in all of your parts and pieces. But you want to do your gluing, remember, so if you do have that combination of nailing, screwing, do that part first, none of this movable parts and pieces, and then do your gluing together. Or if you're glue gunning, because what's a little tougher with this, the glue all or the Elmer's, is to literally try to do nuts and bolts. Like this would be pretty tough. Anything with some weight is going to be hard with that craft glue. And then once you do, it might stick temporarily, but the minute they start to play with it or want to do different scenes and use them as people in their rooms, that doesn't really work. So that's that. We would love to see your final projects. Always post those to us on our Facebook page. Get super creative. This is just a start, right? So get started, get out there, play, and then let us know how it goes. And we'll see you next time. Bye guys, happy Saturday.